Long ago, David Hume, the Scottish Enlightenment philosopher, pointed out that miracles are violations of the laws of nature. And we know the laws of nature, so that's it. Now, that's where many people stop, including the late Christopher Hitchens, with whom I had a long discussion about this. In public, actually. You can see it on the web, I believe. David Hume has caused generations of people to believe that the miracles of the Bible, and I'm going to restrict to those, because if you start believing that everything that claims to be a miracle is a miracle, you end up in trouble. But think of Scripture, the basic central thing, that God became incarnate, that Jesus rose from the dead. Miracles violate the laws of nature. Hume was wrong. Now that sounds a pretty arrogant kind of statement to make of a brilliant philosopher, but you see, I happen to get to know Hume's world-class, the top interpreter in the world, Antony Flew, a philosopher, who had taught this stuff all his life until high old age, until he came to see that Hume was wrong. And he told me himself, he said, I wish I could rewrite my books because on this it was wrong. And for a very obvious reason. C.S. Lewis saw it. He's the best person to read on this. He's got a book called Miracles, and most people get to about chapter 3. They find chapter 4 hard, and they give up. That's a great pity, because the rest of it's much easier. So there's a hint for you. But the basic idea is best explained by an analogy. I'm staying in a hotel here. I put $100 in the drawer on Monday night. I put another 100 in on Tuesday night, so we got $200. I wake up on Wednesday and I find $50. Now, what has been broken? The laws of arithmetic or the laws of Texas? Well, what has been broken? The laws of arithmetic or the laws of Texas? What's been broken? The laws of Texas. How do you know? Because the laws of arithmetic have not been broken. Isn't that so? You know that 100 plus 100 equals 200. You don't say, that was yesterday, they equal 50 today. You'll not get far in banking if that's the way you work. Now, here's a very interesting thing. The mistake was to think that that drawer was a closed system. It turned out not to be. A thief came and put his hand in. Mathematics can't stop that. But it's the mathematics that can't be broken that tells me that a hand has been put into the system and pulled $150 out. It's exactly the same. Jesus rose from the dead. He didn't break the laws of nature. If I were claiming as a Christian that he rose from the dead through some natural mechanisms going on in the tomb 5 minutes before it happened, then it would be breaking the laws of nature. But the biblical claim is that God raised him from the dead by his power. And the central issue then is this world a closed system of cause and effect? The claim is, no, it isn't. God can reach into it, and by his power, it's not breaking any laws of nature. You see, here's the irony. In order to recognize a miracle, you have to know the laws of nature, and there have to be laws. If you didn't know that it was normal for dead people to remain in the grave, you wouldn't be the least bit surprised at a resurrection, would you? You see, Hume also said a very foolish thing. He said, you see, it was very easy to believe in miracles in the time of the New Testament because they didn't know the laws of nature. Well, does he read the same New Testament as I read? When Joseph discovered that Mary was pregnant, Joseph hadn't a clue where babies came from, did he not? And so he immediately believed her. No, he was going to divorce her, wasn't he? Why? Because he knew exactly as well as a modern gynecologist what happens. And it was a special visitation from God. The man born blind, wonderful story in John 9. I love it, his cheek really talking to them. And he says, look, from the very beginning of the world, it's never been heard that a man that was born blind gets seeing. In other words, I recognize this as a miracle because I know the norm. Of course they understood the basic laws of nature. And that's why they recognized miracles. And miracles were interventions of God by his power that did not break any laws. So that's my initial answer to that. But this is such an important question that I've written a book about it as well. The last 2 chapters of my book, Gunning for God, do something a bit unusual. They take David Hume's ideas and they look at the resurrection through them.